Well, hey, this video is a little bit different than all the other ones, and I hope y'all like it. Some of you will, some of you probably won't, but it's got to do with that Chevelle that we went to get. Jason and I went to pick him up a Chevelle, and we just turned the camera on and let it run while we were just talking all the way there. It was a pretty long drive, and we just recorded ourselves talking just for fun. And we talked about all kinds of stuff, and basically the car culture and all of our friends we grew up with, and ended up putting a lot of pictures of the local cars and stuff on there, and talking about Pekin and Salem and just how it was to grow up around here in the 80s and 90s. And so there were some people that didn't get on there because I just didn't have pictures of your cars. If you're watching this, Israel, Mark, Ken, Roger, I didn't have pictures of everybody's. So I went to Facebook pages and I stole some pictures from a lot of them. So they're on here. So I hope y'all like it. Jason and I, we could just about talk a duck out of his web feed. I think we just talked, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was the most fun we'd had in a while together, just talking and cutting up. But anyway, here it goes. It kind of turned into a podcast. I think it's kind of like a podcast. I mean, it's a video podcast. I guess that's still a podcast. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me, but hope you like it. Here it goes. Rock on.
I guess the last time we did this was picking up a Rambler, wasn't it?
It was. The last time we were out together picking up a Rambler, for sure. I would say, it's a stretch, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say a 66 Chevelle is a little bit cooler than a four-door Rambler.
It might be. Just a touch.
I don't know. I may be
2%.
Yeah. So anyway,
2%.
2% better. So that's what we're up to today. So come along with us. We're gonna make this happen. So tell us what your plans are for this car, Jason.
Well, keep it, I guess, this time. I've sold about everything I've ever built. So this one I believe I'll keep. Right? LS, right? Probably do an LS motor in it. It's already got a 9-inch Ford in the back, so that'll be pretty strong. I don't know if I'll do a stick or not. I kind of feel like a stick car.
Oh, I would definitely do a stick.
So, yeah, stick. Let Billy Coots work a little engine magic on it.
Yeah, definitely let Billy do the wiring.
Yeah, probably. For sure. So
you gonna go with a 5.3 or a 6.0 or?
Honestly, whatever Billy recommends. That I talked to Billy about it a while back. Because I told him my plans about buying one of these. So therefore, I can't remember really what he said. It's been a hot minute, but there's certain ones that are better than others. I think by years possibly, and by size. So a couple of them I think really produce a lot more horsepower cheaper, I think. So yeah, I guess whatever I can find and what he recommends.
You plan on going natural aspirated or turbocharged or supercharged?
I think natural. I don't think I'll do anything like that on it. I think it'll run pretty good. I think, maybe a little nitrous if we're feeling crazy.
Put a little, like a fuel injection, like a sniper injection or
possibly.
something like that.
Something just dependable. It would be nice to be able to program a little stuff into it to, program a couple different tunes. I guess you could do that.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. You're probably going to have a nice camshaft in there because you're going to have a little bit of.
You want it to sound good.
Some whoppity whops.
Yeah, just a little bit. A little thumpy. Yeah, we definitely don't want it to sound stock. But I'm getting old now. I don't want it to be too loud. I'd like to be able to hear the radio when I drive, but full exhaust out the back, I'm thinking.
Who are you?
What happened?
Who's in my truck?
What happened to me? But we'll just have to see. I'll definitely do Dynamat or a brand of it, you know, get the car to where it really drives good, because I really would like Gavin's 13. I would like to, you remember Lumpy when he built the Shelby, the little Cobra car?
Yeah, car?
He and Diesel took that to, they went up Pikes Peak and, you know, took it out to Yellowstone. You know, that would be something really I would like to do with this car.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Drive to help take it down. What's that road through California that's... It's right on the coast.
Is it Highway 1 or Highway...
I can't remember, but it's right on the coast. I guess if you go north, you can drive it all the way almost to Mexico. Basically, it's super scenic. It's,
I might be wrong. Some of you guys let us know. I can't remember. I think it's 1, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah, I can't remember.
I could be wrong about that.
But something like that would even be fun. I think Big Bill Koontz, didn't he take Billy's 46 coupe when he had it that one time and drove it? Then they drive it up into even Canada and back down. They did a big trip.
I knew they did a big trip, but I didn't know how far they went with it.
They went a hot mile. They quite a ways in it. Yeah. I'd like to do some stuff like that in this car. Would be why I want to build it.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, won't be as fast as your Mustang. So, you know.
Well, you know, they never are.
Are you sure?
It's pretty slow right now, I got to tell you.
Yeah. How fast can we push it, right?
Right. However fast them little wheels on the rotisserie will go is how fast it is.
So I come to Richards today to actually, as a good buddy would do, to really rib him, because his Mustang hasn't really been doing anything, nothing on the channel. Talking to him about, hey man, I bet your viewership would go up if you really just start working on that cool ass Mustang. And what happens? We go buy a Chevelle. So guess what's not happening today?
Yeah, we're sitting there and he's like, well, you feel like going and buying a Chevelle? I was like, okay.
Yeah, why not? So
yeah, we're going to get it. And, you know, you can always work on the Mustang.
Yep.
The other day.
But that's what we're doing now. It's working on the Mustang in theory, because we're actually talking process, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
How certain things need to happen and to make it actually go together better.
Yeah, planning stages.
Planning stages.
Yeah.
You know, engineering. He's the engineer.
R&D. We're in the R&D department today. So,
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
What we got?
We spent some time in that Mustang as kids.
Oh, God bless. You remember, I'll never forget this. We were running close to 100 mile an hour up going to Spring Mill. I think we were going to swim.
Well, and that was all the time.
Well, but you were like, oh, I forgot. I got a new carburetor. I said, what'd you get? Oh, it's a Holly double pumper. And you nailed it from there. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It's quite fun.
It's pretty. It was actually not too shabby for just a 351 Cleveland.
That car ran good.
With the intake carburetor headers on it. It had a different camshaft in it too. But,
yeah.
I always thought it sounded good. It ran with a 4-speed. It ran pretty good. It was a pretty fast car for a teenager.
Yeah. That's still probably the fastest I've drove or rode in a car between Henryville and South Boston. You know,
yeah, down through the forestry.
Yeah, you actually scared me. I'll be honest with you. Didn't know if that car would go around some of those corners.
It has a factory performance handling package it had on it, and all it really is these. It's just a really like a 1/2 inch or maybe 5/8 diameter anti-roll bar in the back. And that's
like a sway bar?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's what it had on it, but it actually handled really good.
It really did.
Really surprising.
Didn't you race a Corvette or two?
No, I challenged one. He wouldn't race me.
Oh, I got you. That'd have been fun to beat him, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I challenged a guy too in a late model dirt car one time. He was talking about, he was talking stuff, and I was like, well, get that thing out on the road. Let's go race it down through the forestry. he declined that offer.
Well, since we're talking history, I've been fully scared twice in a car. course, the one was in the Henryville Forestry with you, and the first time was with Chris Bowling, a real good friend of ours, a local guy around Salem, kind of a local legend. Had that 57 Chevy back when, I mean, forever. I mean, he's had it for forever, literally.
Yeah.
327, first stick car ever drove, and he used to be able to run that to Palmyra and back before they did the road change.
Oh yeah, 135.
And that car didn't handle like your Mustang, and it was still fast, and it was pretty scary. I mean, it really was. But
Tri-5 Chevy body roll.
Yeah, for real. Like it's dragging the rockers, you know, going around the. But yeah, Chris knew that. I mean, it's like Chris Bowling and that car are like one. Yeah. They're just one being.
One
you know?
unit.
Yeah, one unit. He knew exactly everything that car would do. Exactly, you know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Talking about Chris, I mean, that was. I mean, it was a good. I mean, over 10 years ago when I took my Mustang to him to get him a soda blast.
God, it's been that long, hasn't it?
It's been a long time that I've been trying to plan to actually work on this car.
Yeah.
And I remember when I got to his house and I was there before he was, he said he was going to come home, getting off work, was going to meet me there, and I got there before he did. And I was there for a little bit, then I heard, I mean, this car just giving it everything it had down them old country roads. And here it came, that 57 Chevy. I hadn't seen that car in 30 years.
Well, the last time you were in it, you fell asleep in it.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Yeah, when we took it to Seymour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here he came, pulled up in that 57. I mean, still got it, still drives it all the time. And it's a driver quality car, but it's the coolest 57 that I know of. I would definitely, if I had to have one, I'd want one like that.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'd love to have a 57. They're one of my favorite cars.
Oh, beautiful car. Well, Chris was best friends with my brother Chris, and he's 3 years older, clearly. So I was 14, maybe turned 15, and he put me in the car and tried to teach me how to drive a stick in, you know, a pretty hot, you know, 57 Chevy. And you can imagine how that went, you know, the hopping and, you know, and everything, you know, push the clutch in. But wow, what a fast car, man. That's a great car.
What a cool guy too.
Oh yeah, anybody, I mean, can you imagine nowadays letting, you know, a young me drive your car, you know, here, and I could wreck it. I mean, realistically, you know, I mean, and yeah, it's something else. Sure gives you the bug, the car bug when somebody does something like that.
Right. Yeah. We all already had it, just made it worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. You know, does Chris still have, he's still got his grandma's 55, doesn't he?
I don't know.
I think he does. I believe his grandma bought that car new. It's blue. It's nice. I think it's maybe a 210 model. I can't remember, but still original, you know, 6-cylinder and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a nice car too.
Remember that time we were on my motorcycle and we were taking that carburetor down to the Napa store to get something?
I remember.
Had a wreck on the square.
Yeah, somebody hit us, right?
No, we ran into us. We were coming around the square. So I had a motorcycle, and Jason, I don't know what you needed. Was it a rebuild kit or something?
No, we got a carburetor. It was a carburetor.
Oh, okay.
At Dixon's, wasn't it? Didn't we go to Dixon's in Sellersburg?
I don't remember. The only part of that I remember was that's a pretty long way to go. If we did, that was a long trip because Jason's riding on the back of my motorcycle. We're riding two guys.
Yeah.
On the motorcycle, and he's carrying a carburetor like this. It's like a Holley 650 or 750.
It was a 750 double pumper.
So the distance between Salem, Indiana, and Sellersburg, which is where Dixon's was, that's a good 25 miles.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, so to go there and come back. The only part I remember though is when we got back into town, into Salem, and it's one of those old towns to where the courthouse is right in the middle of the square, and the road goes all the way around it. No, it's one of those where you could actually before drifting was called drifting. You know, you could get sideways all the way around that square. I'm not saying that we ever did that, and I'm not suggesting that anybody else do it. You know, that's definitely against the law and unsafe. Don't do that. But you could do it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we did, but you could do it. Anyway, we pulled up onto the square there, and
kind of in a turn coming up on there, and we was following some lady, and I guess she needed to stop because she stopped, and I was in the middle, kind of halfway leaned in, and I got on the brakes, and we did hit her. We just ran into the back bumper with the front tire, and it kind of flipped. And here goes Jason. Jason's right somersaulting across the pavement.
I did.
With his carburetor somersaulting the side of him, and he did drop the carburetor. I don't know, did it destroy it or?
No, it didn't hurt it. It was in the box. That was the thing. It was. I just remember I did a somersault for sure. I know I did at least a flip.
Yeah.
Possibly two, but I remember coming up, but I had the carburetor. When I came up and stood up, I had the carburetor again in my hand.
Right.
That's what matters. You got to save the carburetor.
That's right. Right. Yeah. I never did. I don't think I ever went quite all the way down. I think I caught the bike.
Well, that's what I didn't even know what happened. That's why, to this day, I thought somebody hit us.
Yeah, no.
Because that's what I remembered about it. It was just like all of a sudden being launched,
Yeah, no, I remember the lady never even got out of her car. I walked up and, made sure she was okay. She asked me if I was okay, and if you were okay. And we said, yeah, so that was into that. And but back in the old days, that was kind of the way things happened,
Yeah.
Today, I mean, they take your whole farm for something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking about that square, there might have been a local Salem cop that was a fireman. Allegedly, I'm saying. I heard of this. It might have got a Harley and drifted the Harley all the way around the square.
Yeah.
I heard quite a visual ordeal there. It was very cool that he would drift a Harley all the way around the square.
I think that's really a myth that a policeman would actually do that.
Yeah.
Or, a fireman.
Right.
An emergency medical service personnel, I don't think they would do anything like that.
Yeah, it had to be. Nah, that didn't happen.
That's another one of those urban legends.
Right. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
He's got a big block 4-speed Corvette. Did you know that?
Is it red?
I don't know what color it is.
I remember he used to have like a 70, 69 or 70-ish.
It still had the chrome
front bumper on it. It was a convertible. It was red with a white top. Yeah, I remember that car.
Yeah, big block 4-speed. Yeah, I thought he did.
Yeah. Pretty cool ride. I know he wasn't afraid to torture the tires on it.
Nah.
I remember seeing him do that a few times.
He had a GSXR 1000, I think it was at the 1000, and craziest thing, it was beat all to pieces. Like, he bought it as a rebuilt wreck or something, but some guy's wife took a hammer to it and just beat the holy dog crap out of the bike,
Yeah.
But allegedly, if this guy really, exists, I guess if that's what we're going to say.
Yeah.
I remember he was the first guy who was like, with me on that bike, and I weigh this much, that bike will only go 183 miles an hour. That's as much as it'll go. And you're thinking, wow,
Allegedly.
Yeah. He did it, allegedly had a helmet on.
Right.
So he was being somewhat safe.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's almost like if this guy was a policeman in, say, the Detroit area, and he would, get out and street race, stuff like that, he might be called the White Ghost.
He might be. Yeah, could be. Could be.
There was a guy called the Black Ghost.
Right.
Who did that.
Yeah.
But around here, we just call him Legend.
We just talk about him a little bit every once in a while.
Right.
The thing about growing up in Salem, though, where we grew up, Pekin, Salem, that's what we did. I mean, everything was around the car culture back then. Playing music, I think, was big too.
Yeah.
That and cars, but it seemed like everybody had, somewhat of a fast car of some sort.
Yeah, if they didn't have one that was fast, they had one they planned to make fast.
Yeah, or had a buddy. That hey,
buddy. Yeah.
Remember Venus Flytrap? That guy had that Overbill or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
There's all these guys that always had all that real. They bring them in once every 2 months.
Yeah.
Then the serious guys come out and race.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a few of us around there that just had we had your basic, run-of-the-mill street car daily driver that made a little bit of power. And, there were a few of us around there who had some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a lot of guys just had cool stuff. You know, like Billy had some fast stuff too. But he also had lowriders.
Oh yeah.
You know, that old Pontiac. And that thing was.
He's got to get that back out.
Yeah,
Didn't we rib him about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually got out there, had him uncovered so I could see it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I took a picture of him standing next to me.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful, I don't know, what is it, 69 maybe?
I think it's 6 or 7 is what I thought, yeah.
Something like that. But it's a
Catalina, right?
Catalina, yeah. It's a Catalina. Or is it a Bonneville?
Might have been a Bonneville.
I don't remember. But it's blue. Beautiful car.
Louvered hood.
Yeah, louvered hood and everything. Of course, Billy's a street rodder, and his dad was a street rodder. He still is a street rodder. His dad still is. I mean, he's getting up there in the years, getting kind of long in the tooth, as they say. But he still gets out there, and Big Bill still works on them cars.
Yeah.
Every bit that he can. And so they were always into that fabrication and modifying stuff, building cars from scratch. They were doing that stuff, you know, way before we ever started.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Big Bill started. I don't know if he started in motorcycles. We'd have to ask Billy. It was either motorcycles or vans, and I can't remember, but I think that's where he started. And Big Bill's really a legend. I mean, he's really one of the. I don't know if you could get any better of a fabricator and car builder than that guy. He really. It's weird, you know, you go to Street Rod Nationals or you go to some place and you're talking to some guy, really cool car, he'll be like, blah, blah, blah. You say, hey, you know Big Bill Coombs? Oh, I do, yeah, I've heard of that guy, you know. It's really pretty cool. But
yeah, he's well known all over,
all over
the country for sure. And, you know, owning that Bonneville, that soft flats car too.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
that's true.
Actually doing that, I mean, they used to go there every year, he said. I've never been. It's always kind of been my bucket list to go.
I'd like to go. I really would.
We should make a trip out there. We should make plans to go.
We should.
Do that because to hear Billy talk, they're actually, it's getting to where
the salt's getting thin or something.
The salt's getting so thin that they're talking about not being able to do it before too much longer. So
you can get with Billy, but I think that turned into a Ohio Mile type car there for just a hot minute. And then but I think it's still around. I think somebody else is like.
No, Billy has it.
Billy has the long car now?
Oh yeah, I've got pictures of it.
Oh really? I didn't think he had it.
Yeah, Billy. Oh. Yeah, it's in the barn. It's in there next to the shop there, and it's got his Chevy truck, land speed truck is in there too.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a cool car, man.
Yeah, it is. That's
really
like
cool engineering in it.
It's a piece of racing history.
Yeah.
I mean, you see a salt flat rail car. I mean, that's something you don't see all. Not only do you not only see that every day, but you don't know about anybody who has one.
No.
I mean, not everybody knows somebody who has one. I mean, that's pretty cool. And to know that they hauled it back and forth out there and ran the car competitively.
Right. There was I remember, I can't remember the name of it. You can research this too, but there was somewhat of a little movie about Bonneville Salt Flats. And it shows Big Bill's car in it a couple of times. I mean,
really?
It's panning around all these, you know, but yeah, and of course it just looks dynamite. I mean, it looks great.
I haven't seen that, but I did see the movie The World's Fastest Indian. Have you seen that?
I have.
So that guy there, I looked up the registration for the Bonneville Salt Flats out there for the racing teams, and Kuntz and Kuntz Racing is still listed on there, but so is what's that guy's name? Burt Monroe. What's his name?
Is that his name? I couldn't.
His name is Burt Monroe. Big Bill, if I'm not mistaken, Big Bill knew him.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's a pretty cool thing too.
That is. Yeah.
That's a cool movie.
Did you ever hear that Bonneville car run back then?
I've never heard of it.
Wow. I think Rex Jackson. I think they were partners, I believe, and Rex owned the motor, I believe, or however that worked out back then.
I think Rex drove the car.
Well, Big Bill did too. Bill's actually almost, well, if you want to call it, he spun out, but I'll never forget Big Bill. He was, gosh, it was well over 200. I'm wanting to say it was around 260 or whatever. He spun the car out.
Oh, wow.
And I remember him talking to me about, you know, because it didn't flip, it was just spinning around in a circle.
Right.
But when he got off the track, even though the foam and everything was around his helmet and he couldn't really move his head that much,
Right.
he said it like, thought it was going to knock him unconscious. You know, it beat him. Yeah, it was, even though his head wasn't moving that much, it's pretty violent, you know. I don't know if that's when he stopped or whatever, but, you know, I think, you know, because they were trying to hit 300. I don't know how close they got.
Right. I don't know all the details as far as that. You know more about that than I do.
Yeah. I watched him build that car. I used to hang out through that section of time pretty heavy out there at the Coons garage.
Right. So I wonder if that car actually started out as a race car and they just modified it and changed the re-engineered.
Big Bill, it was really neat, man, because he got these long rectangle tubes. If I remember right, I think the hood was 10 foot long on that car. I'm almost positive.
It's long.
Yeah, it's long.
It's a long car.
And but Bill, I thought it was very creative, and maybe other people do this, but I believe the antifreeze ran through the frame, which kept more weight on it low, you know, because it's all about getting the car low and
Right.
heavy, so to speak, so it's stable. But Big Bill fabricated the frame, all the suspension, I mean, you name it. You know, it was just it was a really cool thing, and to sit in the car and to look over that, you know, of course the engine and, you know, that just a massive hood, it just couldn't imagine actually going out there and driving that car over 200 miles an hour, you know, like they did, you know.
Well, you know, back in my teens and 20s, I would have not batted an eye about doing 300 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays, I don't know if I'd want to ever try to do that or not.
Right. Well,
I mean, I probably would go 200. I don't think that would scare me too much. I don't know. Probably 300. I probably wouldn't.
I would, as long as I couldn't hear it. As long as I could still hear the radio, right? I don't want to hear it run.
Yeah, I know. I've been 165, 170, and it didn't scare me at all.
I've done that on a motorcycle. It was 168. I think that's, you know, again, a Gixxer 1000R.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. I mean, they're so smooth, right? You look down, you're like, uh-oh, better slow down. No help. Allegedly, I did that, right?
Well, yeah, allegedly. Yeah,
allegedly.
We
may not have had a helmet on like a moron, you know.
Yeah, there's we don't want to, you know, we don't want to start making people think we do dangerous things.
No.
But when I did that though, 165-ish, I was in a stock car at Daytona Speedway.
Oh, nice.
So I got to ride in the stock car out there. That's back before they would let you drive them. You could only ride in them at Daytona. But you know, the guy said we were doing 165, 170 going into the turns. It was impressive.
Did you feel like you were going to make the turn?
I felt like my eyelids were sucking down. I mean, they have your helmet strapped to the cage, and you're literally going in, and when it looks like you're heading towards a wall, you know, that's like face like that, and he's not hitting the brakes. I mean, the guy is still in the gas he never lifts.
Yeah, awesome.
And you're going in, and when you hit that turn, that car just squats. And I could it felt like the gravity was closing my eyes. I was like, you know, but I was hollering, yeah, the whole time.
Oh, adrenaline.
Oh, yeah. He was like, you a little crazy.
Yeah,
That usually scares people a little bit. I was like, no, not me.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that those guys, I mean, they do have to be athletes to do that for 500 miles.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just non-stop 500 miles doing that. And, you know, they say they lose, you know, they'll lose like 7 or 10 pounds during a race.
Sweat.
Yeah.
Fluids, I guess.
Yeah, just the adrenaline.
Be something. I think I shouldn't say every kid, but, you know, our age, I think most kids, you know, went through a spell that you want to be a fireman, but race car driver was always in there.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be a fighter pilot there for a while, too.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been.
But, you know, driving fast cars is about as high tech as I'm going to get. It's about as fast. It's about as close to Mach 1 as I'm going to get, just sitting in a Mach 1.
Yeah, I got you.
You know?
I got you. Yeah. You can always ride that little 50-cent fighter pilot outside of Target or whatever, you know. Go up and down,
I've been on
down.
it.
Yeah.
I've been on it.
We'll have to put that on the channel.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't have video of it. They didn't have, they didn't have digital photography back then.
What, 2 weeks ago?
We can find it. Allegedly.
Allegedly. You do anything for your grandkids, though.
I would.
Yeah. I get it.
We should start a podcast.
We should. We could.
I think we could just about talk anybody to death.
Yeah. Prosser Vocational School down in New Albany. We both went. Richard did diesel, I think, diesel mechanics.
No, just auto mechanics.
Oh, was it just auto? I thought you were in diesel.
I did diesel mechanics in Nashville.
Oh, I got you. And I went to a body shop, like auto body, and and I was thought I was going to really do something with painting cars. I thought I was going to be the man. And Mr. Heiser, local legend around there, great guy, man, great guy. I still think the world of him today, but I remember he had his cup of coffee that he never washed, and he was standing there, and he looked at me and he said, I don't see you ever painting cars. And it was like, it really did, it kind of hurt, because, at the time I thought, man,
you don't got what it takes, boy.
Yeah. And he's like, game show host, talk show host, yeah, not painting cars. Took a sip of his coffee. I'll never forget that. That's
awesome. I never heard that before.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Talk show host.
Game show or talk show host. Well, thanks, buddy. Thanks, mister.
Yeah.
Missed my calling.
Yeah, why don't you go get you a manicure, go over there in an intensive office lab with the girls.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's me. We had an eclectic group from the Pekin guys. Was it Mitch? Was it Mitch Llewellyn?
We were nothing but trouble.
What was that? Remember he was on the Prosser bus? It was Mitch, something, your school.
Yeah, Mitch Llewellyn.
Mitch Llewellyn. Yeah. One of the funniest things, he was bored and climbed up in the mezzanine of the school. Did you ever hear about this?
I don't remember that.
And so he was walking around up there in, big industrial building. And I guess, the math class or whatever was going about their business, everything's fine. And all of a sudden, boom, Nike shoes fall through the ceiling. And of course he got his composure, got his shoes up and somewhat ran, if that's what you want to call it, across the ceiling and everything. Got back into the body shop and he's flipping out. He's like, man, who's got some boots, man? I gotta hide these shoes. We're like, why? And somebody gave him some boots and he threw his shoes. We hit his shoes, and then all of a sudden the teachers come in and we all had to stand around and show our shoes, because they were looking for him, Yeah, you got away with that, but
I probably heard about that, but I forgot about it.
Yeah, it's been a long time. There was a lot of good times at Prosser.
Remember the guys that would pull in the big Oldsmobile 88 with the 455 in it, and they had the quadrojet with the lid.
Oh, the lid on top
flipped over. And I think when they'd pull in, they would be hitting it wouldn't go any faster, but they were whoop,
yeah,
whoop. Yeah, that sound that they made. And that was a cool thing to do, but it it wasn't like they were going any faster, but it was just making a cool sound.
Nah,
there was those guys, but man, those 455 Olds were some torque monsters.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see that 80 Trans Am that I had?
No, I don't guess it is.
It was like primer, like that yellow primer. So I bought that. It was one of those 301 turbo cars, and when I bought it, that thing had already been 86. And the guy had put a 307 Chevy in it. Wouldn't pull a hat off your head. I mean, the thing wouldn't get out of your own way. So, but my dad always drove those Oldsmobile Tornadoes, and he had a 72 that the frame had rotted out on it, and it had a 455 in it. It was in our junkyard. So I ended up buying that 455 off of him and put it in my Trans Am. And I put a shift key in the transmission. It had 373 gears in it. Man, that thing from 0 to about 110, it was like
bad.
It was just unreal how fast that car was.
Yeah.
It literally, you could just hammer it off the line and it would just lay two posies, for 50 feet, and then manually shift in the second at about 60 miles an hour, and it would lay two more, about 10 footers, and then at 90 you shift into third, it would lay two more. it was a torque beast.
Yeah.
But it would only run about 120.
That's it.
Yeah, but at 110, it was about all it had, but you could get about another 10 miles an hour out of it.
Gotcha.
But he would get there quick. He was quick in the quarter mile.
Reminds me when you said tornado, Bobby Bridgewater, who was one of my best friends growing up, you know, from a young, we were neighbors. Really good cat if you know him. But he had an Oldsmobile, and he went to work for Rex Jackson back in the day. Yeah. And probably just had a little 350 or something in an Oldsmobile. Yeah. Rex is like, well, if you want it to go fast, he said, go get you a 425 out of a Tornado, certain year, you know. Something about a switch pitch converter that was in them, and you could wire the converter to lock up almost like a like a stall converter.
Yeah, it had a stall converter in it.
Yeah, and so Bobby got that out and put it in his Oldsmobile. It's pretty snappy.
They called it a variable venturi.
Is that what it was called? What did I say? Variable pitch? So
yeah, that's what they called it.
That's close.
But yeah, it was just like a stall converter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 425 was the precursor to the 455.
I got you.
Same block and everything.
I got you.
As far as I know, I mean, I'm not an Oldsmobile guy. I know a little bit about them. Yeah. Somebody's probably going to blast me.
I always liked them.
Somebody might get on here and say, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. You know nothing about Oldsmobiles, Ford boy.
Right.
You know,
which
is accurate. You know, I just have to say, you're right. But I know enough to be dangerous, and I can make stuff up.
There you go.
If I don't know.
Convincingly,
I can make it up.
Yeah. So what are we doing? Just keep telling car stories? Because that reminds me of Bobby Bridgewater. This might get us in trouble. But, you know, Rex is retired, right? So, you know, probably won't hear this.
Yeah.
Bobby calls me and he's like, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. He's like, come down here. Rex is gone. We'll take his Grand National out. I'd never rode in one. So that was the first yeah, that was the first Grand National ride, and it was a fast Grand National.
Jason was like, you had me at hello.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So yeah, allegedly we did that, and allegedly might have swapped ends on it, you know, around 55, 60 when he nailed it, because that car was pretty fast back in the day.
Car.
Yeah,
that was about an 11-second car.
Rex's.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what all, he never would tell anybody everything that he did to that car, but it was sneaky fast. I mean, you know, I watched him, Brian Green, another local Salem legend guy that's was always had fast cars. He had the 460 Mustang. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, the
Mach
red one.
Yeah, pretty fast.
Same body style as mine.
Right, yeah. And, you know, Brian wasn't scared to, you know, put his money where his mouth was, so to speak. He was always, you know, he had a good, fast car, but I watched him and Rex race, and I just remember I was standing at the back of both of those cars, and when Rex launched that Grand National, it didn't spin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was crazy on the street, and it was just, and that's clearly, I don't know if Brian realistically could have hooked up, maybe he could have beat Rex, but Rex beat him, and that's, you know, literally that Grand National didn't spin at all. I mean, he literally had it dialed in on a street car back then that he could just throw it all down. I mean, literally.
Rotate the earth.
Oh, yeah, pretty much, you know. Yeah, it was awesome. But that got me into a bad way for a Grand National for a long time.
Yep.
Love those cars.
Yeah.
Still like to have one, honestly.
That car was fast.
Would you buy me one?
Well, you know.
Just hook a brother up.
You don't have room on the trailer?
Well, we got tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
No problem. Well, I mean, you know, Christmas is over, but I didn't get you nothing, so.
Well, I got you the same thing last year. Identical. Same thing I got you.
Same thing I got you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so we always exchange the same gifts. You know, nothing, basically.
Yeah.
But it's the same every year.
In case you're not picking up what we're putting down.
Yeah.
We don't buy each other gifts.
You know, be kind of weird, you know, really, if, you know, you show up, here, man, I've been thinking about you, here, open this.
Right.
You know,
but I'll be honest with you, I probably would do that. I mean,
you probably would.
I probably would. I mean,
that's okay.
You know,
I mean, I noticed, you know, the lack of a custom sign you made me. I noticed that today. I saw all the signs you made for all your friends and family.
Well, I never
all
know.
The extra ones, you know what I mean, that are laying around the cars and everything.
I never know what you're going to have. I don't know what to make it. You know,
I can't prove everything.
As soon as he gets something, if I was to make him a sign, he'd sell the car as soon as I made him one. And he's claiming he's going to keep this one.
I really plan to keep this one. Well, let's get it first.
Get it first and
let's
look
see
at it.
How good of a car it is.
Might be able to might be able to fix it up and
trade for
up.
a better one.
Trade up
right,
for a better
yeah.
one.
We'll just see how it goes.
It's the start. It's the start of a new chapter. Is what this is.
It is.
This is the start.
It is. So this car's got. Well, they started back halving it, and there for a long time, really wanted a big tire car, and now I don't know if I really do. You know, I think mini tubs would be good. I'm thinking.
I think so. I think a mini tub in there with a good low profile street radial with a good handling suspension, something you could do some road course racing or something like that in it. Now, that'd be a lot of fun, especially with a stick shift.
Yeah, you remember we rode at Le Mans. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
What has that been now? 7 years?
Has it been that long?
I bet it has. It's been a hot minute, but we were able
like
to ride.
71.
Yeah, it was a 71 Le Mans, and we were able to. We were watching this Camaro doing the autocross, and just, yeah. I mean, fast. And then that Le Mans came up. I don't think that Le Mans was quite as fast as that Camaro, right. But he was still on point.
But it thumped, and he was still running a Pontiac engine in there.
Yeah, and again, so Pontiac. Yeah, so then he's like, "What the hell? Hey, man, you know, you wouldn't take us a ride, would you? Because there was a new Mustang or something they were running. This girl was taking everybody. Yeah. He's like, yeah, jump in. We were like, hell yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, and it's something else, man. I mean, if you've never done that, and at the time, I didn't have that last street rod, I don't think. I think I'd already gotten rid of it. But it really kind of got me in the mood of like, really, man, this might be something fun. Yeah. You had that Cougar, I think, right? That's because we were like, that'd be a perfect autocross car.
It would.
You know? It would.
Yeah, that car handled really good. I remember him diving that thing into those corners around the cones, and he could drive it too.
Yeah, he could. And it was stock suspension in the front, remember?
Yeah, stock suspension. Yeah.
Bigger brakes.
Tie rod ends. I mean, but he just had it lowered. Big, heavy springs on coilovers and stuff.
Yeah. Look, they changed. They get there and they changed the suspension.
The camber angle was.
Race it and then they put it back and drive it home.
Right. Yeah. But it was fun. If you ever get a chance to ride in one of those, I highly recommend it. If you're not afraid of cornering at extremely high speeds.
Yeah, that's even something. I mean, that was free, but that's like something after you do it, you'd be like, wow, I'd probably pay money to ride. It's fun. It's that fun. It really is.
Well, they do that down at the Ford Fest in Bowling Green. They have it where you can enter.
They're just really slow though down there. Right?
Well,
Ford Fest.
That wasn't what I was going to say, but.
I'm kidding. We know Fords. We know everything can run with money, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It doesn't matter what it is.
That's right. Even when they put the distributor in the back where you can't get to it.
Right. Yeah. Where they mess it up.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was going to say, before I was so rudely interrupted.
Sorry.
Is they also do that down at the LS Fest too.
Oh yeah.
They set that up.
Watch out! Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
We'll do that, thank you. But yeah, they do that. And there's some guys that come in. There's guys that travel around that circuit and just do that. Which I think the guy in the Pontiac that time was one of those guys that he traveled around from show to show doing those other.
I believe he did. Yeah. That to me, the older you get, that's the cool factor for me. It's like when somebody really drives their car, or like that's what's I've never really heard of. The drag, what's the drag race thing? Drag Week.
Drag Week, yeah.
You were the first one to say, hey man, when I get my Mustang together, you want to go to Drag Week with me? And I'm like, yeah, what is it?
Well,
you know what I mean? And then now I've watched a bunch of it. It's like,
oh yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah, it's really pretty cool, man. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I would really love to go on Drag Week next September. That'd be nice. Yeah. But I got a lot to do on the old Mach 1 before that thing's, ready for something like that. It could be done. We can do it for sure.
The best thing you can do for a Mustang today is go down and buy a 66 Chevelle. That's the best thing.
The best thing you can do for it
today.
That'll get the most work on. I mean, that'll be the easiest way to get work done on your Mustang is to drive 100 miles to buy a Chevelle.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense.
Talking about the autocross, you remember that Corvair they had there on the Corvette chassis?
Oh, I love that Corvair. That was, I mean, honestly, that car.
What was surprising to me is they're making that again.
Oh, the Corvair?
They make the Corvair now. You know, the engine in the back.
Huh?
Now, yeah, they make them right down there in Bowling Green.
Really?
Yeah, they're selling them by the truckloads.
Really?
Yeah, they call it something like a C8 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got you. I'm picking up what you're throwing down. They look a little different
They
now.
started making the Corvair again.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's what it is. The engine's in the back.
Yeah, well, that's mid-engine kind
It's
of.
not really a Corvette.
Yeah,
It's a Corvair.
it might be. Hate mail goes to. This is another thing that I'll bring up.
Now yeah, go ahead.
About 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, I really got serious on a Corvette, and I was teasing my wife about, you know, going and buying it. I don't think she thought I was serious, and I actually was serious. But I thought I could probably drive it, you know, a summer and still make money on it, and because I know it's like a Harley. I don't get me wrong, I loved my Harleys I had, but once you get one, you know, it's I don't know, it's not that big a deal. You know, you're like, well, I can either have it or not. So
Yeah.
But that's kind of, I know a Corvette would be, because again, you know, they're just 2 seats.
Yeah.
You know, even though they're fun and they're fast and everything, but again, I would much rather have,
Yeah.
I don't know, 66 Chevelle or something.
Yeah, Chevelle. Yeah.
But yeah, I got pretty hot and heavy on one, so that's why what we're doing today matters, because if we didn't do this, I would end up with a Corvette, and I definitely would I would sell the Corvette.
Yeah.
I know I would.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, before y'all go sending a hate mail, I don't hate Chevys. I like them. I like all kinds of hot rods. Y'all know that. Y'all know me.
you got a Rambler, for Christ's sake.
I just like to talk some smack, you know, sometimes. You know, I do have a Rambler. I like weird stuff. That's why Jason's me and his buddies.
Yeah.
I mean, weird stuff. I like weird stuff.
I had a Matador. Remember those?
A Matador.
I call it the L
I used to
Matador.
think that was the ugliest car ever made, and now I kind of like it.
Yeah, I wish I had that car back. It was original paint, 6-cylinder,
Yeah.
no rust.
Yeah.
I bought that car for like $300 because when I wrecked my Camaro,
Yeah.
that's when I drove back and forth to work for a while.
Those actually make a pretty cool autocross car too.
Oh, it would.
They make
Yeah.
good looking once you get them low. You got to get them low.
Yeah, I had those
mean,
taillights big as a
Yeah.
dog dish.
You got to get them low, and you got to get some wide rubber on there to offset
Yeah.
how big the features are of the car. And once you do that, they actually look pretty good. You know, it's the same thing with those old Dodge trucks. Remember the old Dodge trucks? They call them
The D something D.
yeah.
Swept one.
Maybe they call them a tin grill. Is that what they call them now?
I don't know.
Tin grill? I don't know. But it was like that one on Christmas Vacation. Remember that guy? Remember when Chevy Chase is going to, and he goes to pass him up, and then they flips him the bird, and then the guys get in front of him and they slam on the brakes. That old greenish blue crew
Okay,
cab.
pause. Richard's got a weird thing with movies. This man can remember dialogue, everything about movies. It is insane. So no, I've seen it. I do not remember that, but it's always like this. You remember that part in the movie where the guy said, and it's something whatever?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But go ahead, sorry.
Well, it's that kind of Dodge truck.
Yeah.
It's that same kind. I saw one of those down at the Street Rod Nationals several years ago that was in like a showcase of cars there. And I always thought those were the ugliest truck ever made.
Right.
But this one here, it was root beer brown. It was completely customed out, all leather interior. I mean, just a gorgeous truck. And you can Google it. You can just Google Dodge custom, brown Dodge custom truck, and you can see this thing, pictures of it on the internet. It was beautiful. I mean, one of the best looking trucks I've ever seen. But it just goes to show you how you can do a little bit of work. You can have a lot of people have vision. You know, they look at something that's not really popular, that's kind of weird, which is the kind of stuff I like, and I've kind of gotten to where I can see that. I can see the vision in that. I can see,
Absolutely.
you know, how that would be something, could be made into something that looks really awesome.
Even the car we're going to buy today, you know, every car show's got one in it, you know, pretty much. But,
Yeah.
you know, it is nice to go and see something like an AMX, you know, or something that's just not, you know, a little off the beaten path, still really cool.
Not real common.
Right.
You know, that's what I liked about my Rambler when I saw it. You know, I wanted a station wagon. You know, I've been kind of talking about getting a wagon for a while. And then saw that one, I was like, that's what I want. I'd seen all kinds of other wagons, you know, but it seemed like the price was right. It was just weird enough for me.
You know what's cool about that is the guy had a lift, remember?
Yeah, he had a lift.
You know, jack it up, you can really look at it.
Yeah, we got up under it and could check it out. It was in pretty good shape, especially since, you know, considering it was an Ohio vehicle.
Right.
You know, everything up there, pretty much in the Rust Belt, kind of goes back to the earth way before 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
And this one actually still was in pretty decent shape. And I did have some, you know, there was a lot of rust in it that we couldn't see.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I might have gave up on that.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I'm glad you had the, you know, the willpower to hang in there.
Right, yeah, because I did spend quite a few hours
Did a good job on that.
working on it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
You really did.
Yeah. That was a good learning experience, and it was a lot of fun to do, and I'm glad how it turned out.
Right.
Mama likes it, you know, so, that's a big jump. You know, she used to not like anything old. And
We
now,
got to figure that out with my wife.
Oh yeah, well, you know,
She's like, well, I'll just drive my Toyota and I'll just drive behind you and meet you there.
Yeah.
That's literally no matter what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
well, you know, it didn't happen immediately. You know, we've been married 25 years, and it probably took, you know, 20
To beat her down.
to get her there.
Just
yeah.
to, yeah. You
So,
broke her spirit, is what it is.
I did. Love in a loving way. You know.
In a loving, of course, in a loving.
Very gentle, loving way.
But you know, realistically though, I mean, her dad had a Ferrari.
Her dad had a Ferrari.
So,
yeah.
you know, I mean, it's kind of hard to go from, you know, Ferrari to
Right.
Rambler wagon
Yeah.
and be like, hey, this is fun.
Yeah,
You know?
this is pretty cool.
I remember the first time I came out to one of those barbecues, saw the Rambler and the, didn't he have an Austin,
At a Bentley.
Bentley, that's
Had a
right.
Bentley too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's dad did pretty well for himself, and but he was a hard worker. I mean,
Oh, he was, yeah.
Whenever he was a kid, I remember he was talking about when he was 16, he bought his first car and paid cash for it. It was a Corvette.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He worked. He saved his money delivering newspapers on his bicycle, and then working at a gas station
Wow.
in Owensboro. Saved up enough money when he went into the Army. He bought a Corvette. I mean, we actually got a picture of him sitting in it. It was
Really? What year?
67.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 67. And
Yeah, you never think meeting that guy, which I did a few times, right? I mean, but he
Yeah.
was, you don't get that, you know, wealthy stink off of him, so to
No.
speak. You know that, you know, and you know, we know some wealthy
Oh, we
people
do.
who are very down to earth, and you'd never know it.
Right.
Then you know some people who have a little bit of money that they want to
Yeah.
let you know every nickel they have. But he really was
Wasn't up.
very not at all. If he had it and you needed it, I mean,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
how much food did he put into that barbecue? I mean, it was an insane amount
oh
of
yeah,
food.
well, he
for-
fed 400 people.
Yeah,
I mean-
that was his average or his annual party.
And he used to have a pig roast. Yeah, for 30-something years, he had a pig roast every year. He
Right.
would feed 400 people, and it was a good time. You know, have a big car show out there. So, but yeah, he had a '78 Ferrari 308 GTS,
Gotcha.
just like a Magnum PI.
That's what I was going to ask. Is
Yeah.
that the same? Because it looked like it to me, but I don't know much about Ferraris.
Yep. You know, it's funny. He was talking about going to buy that. He bought it in Chicago, and it was 2 years old. They didn't have any miles on it. I mean, it had like hundreds of miles.
Right. Yeah.
And he was trying to decide between that and a Lamborghini Countach. They were about the same price, and what sold him on the Ferrari was the fact that it had air conditioning.
You know, I never thought about a Lamborghini not,
Yeah.
I guess, having air conditioning.
The Countach did not have air conditioning.
And when you say that, that's like the Cannonball Run
Yes.
style
Yep.
Lamborghini, right?
Yep.
Everybody had a poster of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. With the two hot girls standing next to it.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
Catherine Bach and
Yeah. What are the other hot
the
girl
other hot,
ones?
the other hot girl. I can't
Yeah.
remember her name, but
Hot Girl 2.
yeah, you don't remember Catherine Bach? It's Daisy Duke.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, everybody knew Daisy Duke.
Yeah.
But yeah, he bought that Ferrari, and said he drove it home, and then he drove it to. He went to a party in New Orleans. He drove it to New Orleans. Said he was doing 165 miles an hour all the way down there.
Wow.
Ferrari, yeah. Which it wasn't a fast car off the line. It wasn't impressive by today's standards at all. It was about 400. I think they were rated at 410 horsepower, but it was just a 3-liter engine,
Right, yeah.
V8. So
It's just an all-around, though. It's
Yeah.
a performance car all the way
it
around.
was a race car.
Handle, stop, the whole shebang.
I mean, it was you're driving a race car. You're in it. There's no room for your feet. I mean, it's manual steering, manual brakes.
Feel everything about the car.
Yeah,
You know, literally.
which was cool. I mean, you had to have driver input to drive the car. I mean,
Right.
you had to drive the car.
Right, yeah.
You know, and gated shifter and all that.
That's probably why I'd have wrecked it. You know, you would have drove it because you're a much better driver.
I got to drive it a few times.
Well,
And
if anybody knows Richard, don't ever say, "Hey, Richard, you want to drive this car?" Because he'll drive it. Like, he will run it through the paces.
I warned you first.
You didn't me?
I didn't.
No, I had a 65 Olds.
Well, you knew me. I mean,
Well, I did, I guess.
You know.
And we traded. I was riding your motorcycle, wasn't I? I can't remember. And but anyway, he comes
maybe.
back from Scottsburg. He's like, "Man, that car's actually pretty fast. I dusted a brand new Camaro and all this stuff." He's out racing my car, you know. Still had the hubcaps
The
on it
car
back then.
wanted to do it.
Oh, I bet the car did.
I mean, the car talked to me, it spoke to me, and it said, "Listen, I know that you're not the one that normally drives me,
yeah.
which means I want to let my hair down a little bit."
Exactly.
You know, so
It was a grandma car.
it spoke
No
to
doubt
me.
about it.
Yeah. But it was a cool car.
It was. Richard was the first one. He's like, "Man, you know, if you hit that about 40 miles an hour, it'll shift because power glide. It'd shift down at first and it just annihilate that one tire. You know, it would just smoke that one tire off that car."
But Israel and I used to do it all the time. We would trade. He'd drive my Mach 1, I'd drive his Chevelle. He had a 68 Chevelle. And
Two fours on it then?
no, we just had one full barrel, 327. But we would drive them. I mean, I knew that when Israel drove my Mach 1, he was going to drive it like I stole it.
Yeah.
And he knew when I drove his Chevelle, I was going to drive it like I stole it. You know, we had that sort of agreement.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah.
you know, I rode with you that one time. You had that Camaro, and I was impressed with how you handled it, going up 160 there.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I can't drive a stick, though. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm a race car stick driver. Like, you know, God rest his soul, Jason Ingram, Roger Ingram's, which Roger's a good stick shift driver too. But
Yeah, right.
Jason could really, he was a tiny guy, you know, little guy, funny, super funny guy. Man, he can really, really drive. And you get in with a guy that actually, like Richard or Jason, Roger, you know, countless other people who really, Adam Lohorn, I guess, you know, let's throw him into the mix.
Yeah.
But somebody who can really drive a stick, then you're like, "Oh yeah, I guess I need an automatic."
Well, you just need more practice.
Yeah, probably.
You know, it's not nothing.
More practice and a couple extra transmissions.
Yeah, I mean, you just got, you know, you got to break them and back down a bunch.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you.
I guess
that's
so.
how you gauge how hard to drive them.
I guess that's
Once
true.
you break it, you know the limit.
Yeah. Okay. That's too much.
Right.
That right there.
Back down just a hair. You know.
200 RPMs.
Yeah. Just
Try that.
try that. You know, 200 RPM increment. That's a good little amount to adjust.
Yeah.
I like driving them open stick shifts. I think you definitely need to put like a T56 in this.
Think so?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can go down to LS Fest and there's a guy down there who sells used transmissions out of Rex. Actually, you can buy the whole engine, transmission, everything from him.
Yeah.
All one shot. So, and it pretty much just bolted in, computer and everything. Just pop it in there. So,
Be nice.
yeah, that'd be something you could get for a reasonable price. And it sounds like a lot of money when you look at, but when you think about piecing it out, you know,
Right. No.
you know, you could buy an LS engine with a T56 out of a Camaro that's wrecked, and you know it might cost you, 10-15 grand for the whole setup, but by the time you build an engine, a transmission, all that, the rear end, everything, you're going to have that in it.
Yep.
Easily.
Especially if something's going to hold up like, the LS will.
Yep. Right.
What's Billy's Mustang LS, right?
It's a 5.3.
Yeah, 5.3. I know it had well over 100,000 miles on it when he bought it and put it in there. consistently drives it to the drag, you know.
Drives it to the drag strip,
Yeah.
races, usually spanks everybody who races.
Yeah,
And
just
then goes
beats
back.
on it, like beats on that
Just
car.
beats the crap. I mean,
Nitrous.
pulls the wheels off the ground. I mean, drives this thing to the racetrack, wheels up, usually beats the guy next to him. He's lost a couple, but wins
then
most
drives
of
it
the time.
home.
And then drives it back home again.
Yeah,
I mean, that's hot rodding right there.
yeah.
That's
Billyism. He was putting together I know it was a 327. I know it was, but I didn't really know much about engine building at the time. And what's that little rep gauge stuff you put in there when you're torquing it down?
plastic gauge.
Plastic gauge, yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing whatever, and he's putting the crank together, that motor, and he gets done. We're sitting there shooting crap, and he just grabs the crank and spins it. He's like, gonna turn some RPMs.
Yeah.
Yep. And he put that in the was in the 46 coupe for a while, but it was in that daggone 56 Nomad he had for a while, stick car.
Yeah, he put them together a little bit loose, and they'll turn a little bit higher RPM.
Yeah, that car, it sounded, it ran good too. I mean, no doubt about it. But it was, boy, he'd come into it in town, you could definitely hear it coming.
Yeah, that 46 pickup was.
Oh yeah, that was, yeah. He needs to get that back together too.
Yeah.
He's had a cab for it. So basically, the story goes, Billy was might have been driving that truck pretty hardcore, pretty fast actually. It was a 46 Chevy chopped, had a 50 something VW headlights in it. You know, it was real cool.
Yellow,
And,
step side, tubbed.
He and his dad, I mean, I think they didn't have a MIG welder back when they built that truck, and they chopped the top. You know, they chopped it like, the guys used to, literally. And
Sectioned it and all that.
oh yeah, and just a fast, cool truck, and it had a little bit of oil leak, I guess, or something. Billy can, correct us if I'm wrong, but and the nitrous or whatever, it flashed and it caught it on fire, and then he was up right outside of Salem. I can't remember if it was right there north of town, but there used to be a place called Porter Paints for some reason, and this has been decades, guys, but it was like, long story short, caught fire. Fire department comes, they pull out axes, and Billy's like flipping out. You're not going to chop my car. I don't care. We're going to get it out.
We're going to chop the top.
Yeah, they were going to chop into it to make sure the fire, put the fire out or whatever. He wouldn't let them do it. It's a classic car guy's move. No, man, I'll get the fire out. You're not going to take an axe to my truck.
Right.
But it was defeating. Seeing the truck a lot, and then going over there to the Koontz compound and seeing it sitting there, just the cab, just
Yeah.
But they got a new cab for it right away. I think. I don't think it took them very long, but.
It's sitting in there with the land speed car.
Gotcha. Yeah, I knew he still had it. I just, It was a cool truck.
I thought it was a battery issue. I thought the battery caught on fire or something.
Well, ask him, but I could have swore it was something with the nitrous, and I don't know much about nitrous, whether it flashed or something happened, but there was just enough of an oil leak, it caught the oil and it started burning is what I remember. Yeah.
Well, nitrous can cause a backfire through the carburetor.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was something like that. I guess right now I'd probably lose a $20 bet on it. That's what I would think.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not going to swear to it that it was the battery, but that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Which, my memory. I remember movies, but
you can.
But other stuff,
right. Real cool stuff like when Billy about lost all his truck in a fire.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Well, if you guys have ever seen any Billy Koontz wiring, it definitely wasn't anything wrong with the wiring. We can guarantee that. He put a picture of his Mustang up, I can't remember, on Facebook, and took a picture of the inside of it or whatever, and of course my smart butt comment was, wow, dude, who did that crappy wiring, because it's just, his wiring skills are just, it's insane.
It's like somebody wired the SR-71 Blackbird.
Yeah, that's what you would think. It is that neat. It's something else. Almost, I would say otherworldly, because there was a guy one time, I was working on my first street rod, which Big Bill basically built the suspension for me. He actually showed me where the car was, go to this junkyard, I've got a rear end spoken for, go to this, I've got a Mustang too, you know, he kind of just hooked me up, you know. And so long story short, I won't say the guy's name, but so I'm in there and I was trying to, you know, put a brake line on, just a rubber brake line, you know, on the Mustang 2 suspensions, put it together on the car. And I'd turn the wheels, you know, I'd hold it, turn the wheel, make sure. And after about 3 minutes, a certain guy that was there, he's like, you know, with a few cuss words, "You look like Big Bill Koontz, you know, just put it on there." And I was like, it almost brought a tear to my eye. I was like, wow.
Yeah. What a compliment.
Yeah, what a compliment. I mean, it's like, wow, if I'm anywhere near, you know, could ever be anywhere near that dude. I mean.